Hello! In this video, I'm gonna show you a little of UiPath's Task Capture app in action. For this demo, I'm gonna use in Task Capture a diagram that was previously created by me that illustrates a simple process: getting data from an Excel spreadsheet and then inserting it into the UiDemo app, also from UiPath. After that, I'm gonna export this diagram to a process design document, or PDD, and also to UiPath Studio itself. So let's go to the workflow. So I have here the workflow I designed in Task Capture with the states here that I will explain in a minute. And the objective of Task Capture is simple: starting from an initial and superficial idea of the process logic to create a base documentation of the process following all the best practices stipulated by UiPath that can later be altered and filled as wished. So, in my scenario here, I have this spreadsheet with these values here on the rows cash in, honest check, and not honest check. And I have the UiDemo app from UiPath also. So the idea is very simple: to input these values here in the respective fields. For that, we are going to do very simple operations. So we click here on the desired cell, we hit Ctrl A, then Ctrl plus C, then we go back here to the UiDemo, click on the desired field, and hit Ctrl plus V. This will happen for every column here. So once again, Ctrl plus A, Ctrl plus C, and then Ctrl V, and now Ctrl C, and Ctrl V. This is reflected here in this first state here of the Task Capture project: extract data and fill UiDemo app. So we can see here the screenshots of every action I designed. So for example, we have the click on the cash in row, followed by the Ctrl plus A, then the Ctrl plus C. Then we go back here to the UiDemo app, we click on the cash in field, and then hit Ctrl plus V. This will happen for each value in that row. And the next step is to click here on accept, this button here, so that the value can be effectively imputed on the application. So we hit accept, and then there it goes. Now we have this little validation here, verification, if the row we are processing is the last one. If it is, we can then end the process here on this state by just clicking the exit button, and then we have here the representation of the end. But if it is not the last row, we have to select the next row. So we do it here on the select next row state. It's basically a click in the next row, say for example here the row 3. Okay, perfect. With the workflow done here in Task Capture, we have two options. We can export it to a process design document, or a PDD, or we can also export it to the UiPath Studio as a skeleton of a workflow. I will perform both here so you can see. I will start by the PDD. So we just click here on Word document. We can fill here with a title, a description, and an order. Then we can hit next, and we can choose a template for this PDD to be written on. By default, these two come by default: the Automation Hub PDD and the UiPath PDD. I will choose here the UiPath PDD. These are both editable. We can alter them as we want, but I will stick to the default. So UiPath PDD, and I hit export. We save it. Now the document is being generated. Okay, so I can hit here open file, and here it is. We have here our PDD with many contents, right? So we have the table of contents with the introduction, as is process description, and many others. We have tables here that can be filled as we wish. but I want to focus on the as-is process map that we can see here. That is the diagram I created on Task Capture. There's just the same one, right? And after that, we have also the screenshots that I mentioned earlier for each and every action I designed there. So we can see here the first step, extract data and fill UiDemo app. We have the click on cache in, the select cache in by pressing Ctrl+A, and so on. Right, so this is the PDD, and now I will move on to exporting it to Studio. We click here on UiPath Studio. Once again, we save the file, and it's now being generated. Okay, now we can click here, Open File. Okay, we have here our workflow, our skeleton, and we can see that its structure is very similar to the diagram in Task Capture, and that is intended. So we have all of the states I mentioned earlier here, along with the verification and everything. And one cool thing is that each of those actions I mentioned are here as activities. So we have the double click on the cell, on the cache in cell. We have the send hotkey to the Ctrl+A, and so on. Well, if I were to hit here on run file, the workflow would fail, the execution would fail, because this skeleton here cannot get all of the process details, right? As I said, that diagram is very initial and superficial. So we have to have an RPA developer team to come here and make the necessary adjustments so that the workflow can eventually be in a production environment. So this is the end of our demo. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.